Yeah, that's a fairly accurate depiction of exactly what's happening right now. And special shouts out to Greenie, the independent YouTuber that made this video, which we will link in the description below. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org. And yeah, today's just one of those days. Lots of absolutely really crazy news coming in today. Specifically, a lot of people are of course paying attention to the death of former Republican presidential candidate and possible U.S. Federal Reserve Chairman, longtime entrepreneur and politician Herman Cain, a very prominent person that allegedly passed away from a sickness that YouTube doesn't even allow us to say. Now, obviously, a lot of people are trying to politicize this death for their own personal benefit, which I think is disgusting. One side is talking about masks. Another side is talking about Herman Cain's health, which wasn't in the best of conditions. Regardless, when it comes to people moving on and no longer being with us, I do believe, even if you agreed or disagreed with this person, have respect for the family that, of course, is actually dealing with this loss, and not just trying to stand on top of the grave of someone they didn't know in order to push a political agenda. The second biggest story that we're going to quickly touch on before moving to the main subject of this video is, of course, Donald Trump suggesting that we should potentially postpone the 2020 presidential election. He did so in a tweet that has garnered a lot of criticism, and I believe rightfully so. Now, it is important to note that under the powers that was granted to the U.S. presidency under George W. Bush, he can, quote, legally do this with Directive 51, but with the outcry and opposition even to this suggestion, I don't see it being very likely that this will happen. From my point of view, this idea is met universally as just an absolutely bad idea, which I agree with. There, of course, should be a larger discussion talking about mail-in voting, if voting works, the election system being broken, us only being given the choice of Pepsi or Coke. It's as bad of an idea as having voting by email done by Hillary Clinton. It's just not. It's not a good idea. Another really bad idea is keeping secret government documents, testimony, and evidence regarding, of course, a larger government-run extortion operation that abused thousands of children. You know, a little bit of a mouthful there, but overall, that's a bad idea. And as you know, as we've been talking about since last week, that there were supposed to be some very important documents related to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein that were supposed to be released hours ago. And they weren't because of a last-minute motion that postponed the unsealment of these documents that many people claim will be absolutely mind-boggling. Again, another disappointment in the legal system. We need more public pressure surrounding this story because it's absolutely ridiculous. Still, we're going to be keeping a close eye on this story. Hopefully, these documents get released soon enough. When they do, we, of course, will be covering it here on this independent media organization. And now, before we get into the magic words that Mark Zuckerberg will censor you now for, there's a lot of them, but there's a new one there. We wanted to remind you that as an independent media organization that talks out against very powerful individuals, monopolies, and very bad people, that we are, of course, 100% demonetized. And that's why we started promoting the Brave browser, a great alternative to Firefox or Google Chrome, an internet browser that gives you an extra layer of privacy and gives you cryptocurrencies that you get from just simply using it. Yes, you get paid for using this browser. I get a small commission if you use it for over 30 days. Yes, you got to use it for 30 days. From our specific referral link, you get some cryptocurrencies, I get some cryptocurrencies, I'm happy, you're happy, just by using an internet browser that I really, really like. I think you will too. The link to it will be in the description. It's a win-win for everyone. Download the link in the comment section below. I have never been more happier and more confident of an affiliate link, that by the way you could have as well, than I am with Brave. Anyone can have it. You just got to sign up. And we definitely need your help with all the censorship, shadow banning, and just absolute deletion of individuals who are giving you a perspective that you can't get anywhere else. And we just got the news that the Haywire YouTube channel has been fully taken down by YouTube, never, of course, to be seen again. Getting a hood put over its head, shoved in a van, and just disappeared. It's just gone. What happened to them? Why did they go? Those are literally the answers we are getting from Alphabet, Google, YouTube, which is just one big mega multinational monopoly corporation that also, as of recently, as of March of this year, has a new board member that was appointed to Alphabet. And if you want to understand how these mega multinational corporations work, we have to understand that YouTube is not its own separate entity. It's under, of course, Google, which is under, of course, Alphabet. You know, the corporation working with the military-industrial complex and other really bad unethical companies, and also the Pentagon. But anyway, I digress. Now, their new appointee to their boards is very interesting, since, of course, this new appointee, Robin L. Washington, was also the longtime CFO of Gilead. You know, the same big pharma organization that produces remdesivir, which barely gets any criticism at all. There's studies suggesting that it might not be as helpful as people think it is. There were some studies showing some promising results, but of course it's a drug that U.S. taxpayers paid for the development of, but is still somehow being sold for over $3,000 per treatment. The competitor to that is, of course, hydroxychloroquine, HCQ, which also has preliminary studies that show promising results. Now, there are previous studies that were based on absolute frauds, that were faked, that had bad data, that attacked HCQ, that had to be retracted. There was a massive disinformation campaign against this drug ever since, of course, Donald Trump started promoting it. And now there's major censorship of it by Alphabet, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and other institutions that literally censor doctors talking favorably about this drug. Now, of course, there are preliminary studies showing that it has favorable results. Is hydroxychloroquine, is HCQ the cure for all of this? Well, no, we still don't know that for sure. But if you suggest that, Mark Zuckerberg will take you down. Facebook will delete you, regardless if you're a doctor, medical professional, or whoever, if you dare bring up that HCQ could potentially work as a cure. Now, again, I'm not saying it can. We still have very preliminary studies, but we still have over 65 studies showing that HCQ is favorable. It's, again, a drug that has been highly used throughout the last few years. It's been given to immune-compromised individuals. It's been given to pregnant women. Relatively, compared to other big pharma medicines, it is comparatively safer than a lot of the other more expensive big pharma medicine out there. Its treatment costs around $10, but yet we can't even talk about it, and we have a massive misinformation campaign about it where we can't even openly talk or discuss about what the truth of this drug is. And during this time, if people really care about helping and curing people, we should be open to all discussions that could potentially help us. But we don't. We have a massive misinformation campaign and censorship campaign that prevents you from even speaking about it. To the point where even a Yale epidemiologist came out and accused, quote, America's top doctor, Dr. Fauci, that, by the way, was telling everyone that HCQ was bad on the mainstream media just a couple hours ago. Well, this Yale epidemiologist, who's taking a closer scientific look at HCQ, is saying that Dr. Fauci is running a misinformation campaign against this drug. Now, interestingly, New York is going to begin trials with the HCQ drug. Very interestingly, the governor of Ohio also announced that he wants to reverse the prohibition of HCQ. He has now reversed his position and is saying that he agrees with the FDA chairman. Now, allegedly, from previous implemented studies from New York regarding HCQ, there was mixed results. And again, with how fudged some of this data has been, which so much disinformation, which so much propaganda out there. Again, I have to err on the side of caution and to always be careful about what you read out there. As a human being, you have a human body, a physical body that is very unique and very different than, of course, someone else's. What is right for you may not be right for someone else, and this is surely a very unprecedented situation that even many medical professionals are left scratching their head, not knowing what is going on here. And that's why having more of an honest conversation that can't be censored is extremely important. Will HCQ be the cure or not? I don't know. Could it help? I don't know. But there's also very interesting findings from previous studies regarding HCQ and SARS that showed promising effects on a previous similar strain of virus, SARS, 15 years ago, that showed possible preventative and treatment measures with chloroquine. And again, I am not a medical professional, but obviously this entire situation unfolding with the conholio sickness, with a lot of the big pharma agencies being connected to the big monopoly tech companies, with a lot of the misinformation out there, with the studies being falsified, we have to understand that some science is for sale, and we should highly question what is happening with HCQ comparatively to how a lot of emphasis is being pushed on, quote, vaccines. And historically speaking, there has never been a successful vaccine for this type of conholio genre of sicknesses, which should make you wonder why so many, quote, experts and professionals from Mark Zuckerberg to Dr. Fauci keep putting such an emphasis, along of course with Mr. Bill Gates himself, that finances a lot of this. It has a lot of investment in this. I'm just saying there's a reason why after the man said he's donating all of his money, he actually doubled his wealth. Some of the richest people in the world didn't get there from being nice. And that's why, in my opinion, it's in our best interest to be skeptical while keeping our ears and eyes open to what is actually right for you as an individual. Do your own research, do your own homework. Don't believe anyone, especially YouTubers. The main emphasis here on this channel is to give you evidence, data, articles, studies, photos, videos, and for you as a human being to make up your own mind on important issues. Until humanity starts doing this, we will keep faulting and being our very worst enemy. Again, very simple, rational message that somehow is controversial. I don't think it is. But if you agree with it, share it with your friends and family members, because now it's more important than ever with the shadow banning and, censorship that's happening with people just even trying to discuss some of these important ideas that may help you. And because of you sharing, I'm still here, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.